Hey my friends, this is Stephanie Rittermont with Courageous Living. Did you know that human beings are biologically predisposed towards negative thinking? But researchers believe that you can rewire your brain by promoting positive thinking and cultivating an attitude of gratitude. And in this video, I'm going to show you some simple and successful tips on just how to do that. So you may be wondering, why do people gravitate towards the negative versus the positive? Well, the main reason why is to protect us from danger. And so if you're going to go down a negative path or you're not quite sure about the results of a decision you're going to make, you're not going to go down there because you don't want to take the risk. Fewer risk means a less chance of having a negative experience. So what would that negative experience be? Well, the fear of failure, embarrassment, people making fun of you. And so what happens is you're protecting yourself. And therefore you'll hear people say, see, I knew that wouldn't happen. I knew I wouldn't get that job. Those things never happen for me. And so they've already have themselves worked up that there's going to be a negative experience. So they pull back on that risk. And then they have that plan B in place saying, I knew it wouldn't happen. So my friends, if I were to lie to you over and over again, or maybe a friend of yours is constantly lying to you, eventually you stop hanging around them. You pull back because you don't know when they're ever going to tell the truth because they always lie. Well, those are the things that we tell ourselves. We lie to ourselves. We lie about perceived expectations, or we lie about the future. And so we have to stop listening to those lies and hanging around those lies in our head and quit believing them and pull back and rewire our brain. You know, when we have a bad habit, we have to change it, right? We have to replace it with something opposite of it. Well, it's the same thing with these bad habits of lies that we believed about ourselves. We've got to replace it with something. And I'm going to give you a few steps on how you can do that. So first thing I want to share with you is fear bombarding your thoughts. If fear is coming against you, this is what I'm going to ask you to do, is to lean into it and find out, well, maybe the fear, because remember, it's protecting you from danger, that could be the actual direction you need to go in. And so take time to unpack that fear and see if it's just an emotion of protecting yourself, or if it's something that you're actually supposed to do and you're just maybe a little afraid because there's uncertainty, you're not sure what to expect, but you need to go in that direction. So when I'm out of the office, I have an autoresponder in place for my emails. And it lets people know I'm going to be away from the office and I will get back to them. So we need to do the same thing with those thoughts. Maybe when people say negative things to us or we say those negative things about us, we have to have an autoresponder. Autoresponder can be very simple, almost like your anchor thought of, I've got this, or everything's going to be okay, or I can do this. The next thing I like to call it is think this, not that, or flip it. So if you're one that just says, oh, this is impossible, I can't do this, immediately think this, not that. Say, this is possible. I may not know how this is going to work out, but it's possible. And by changing the dynamic of those words helps you to rewire those brains. So instead of staying over here in the negative, you're going to be over in the positive. So the last step is what if? What if you don't have all the answers to the next decision that you're going to make? What if you don't have all the things in place before you make that next step or that next move? What if you don't do well at it? Or what if you make a mistake? It's okay. You don't have to have everything in place before you take that next step. In fact, many times I have found by taking the next step is when the other answers come my way and when the other revelations come my way for me to keep moving forward. So the last thing I want to share with you, my friend, is from the movie Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And there's a favorite scene in there that I just love because it just reminds me of having faith when you don't see the next step. And there's this hidden bridge, and Indiana has to get from one side of this bottomless pit over to the other side. And so he doesn't know where the hidden bridge is at. And so he takes some of the gravel and the dirt and he throws it, and that bridge appears. But you also see this little apprehension as he starts to lift his foot up to take the step because he's not sure, is this bridge really here or isn't it? And of course he steps on it and he gets across the bottomless pit. And the reason why I share this with you, my friend, is because I just love the whole dynamic of having that faith to believe in something you can't see. And so you may not really quite understand, well, if I replace all this negative with the positive, is it really going to change things? You won't know unless you try. You've got to step out. You know, you can't get to the other side of the door unless you open the door and go through it. And it's the same thing with changing our thought process and making these decisions that we have to make, and maybe you're holding back on the risk because of that fear, you know, you're protecting yourself. You know, you've got to take that next step because you won't know what's on the other side unless you do. So my friends, until next time, continue to live that courageous life, be strong and be kind, and don't forget to take that step. Hey my friends, I hope you found this video encouraging and helpful for everyday life. For more videos like this, hit the subscribe button below. Also, don't forget to follow me on my other social media platforms.